From the time the sun draws forth the slender buds in the springtime of the year until the bountiful harvest in the brisk autumn days, the lands bordering Erie shore give forth beauty, pleasure, and industry. Erie shore borders the waters of North America's Lake Erie in the Canadian province of Ontario. It is bounded by the state of Michigan on one side and the state of New York on the other. For those fortunate enough to be able to take their vacation in the earlier months of the year, blossom time along Erie shore and in the Niagara Peninsula is an unforgettable experience. Every year, spring climaxes about May 15th, when blossom time in the fruit belts turn Erie shore into a fragrant riot. For miles upon miles, the apple, peach, and cherry orchards are in bloom. This is the time of year when Mother Nature dons her gayest garb. During the 12 months of the year, visitors from the south come to Ontario. Those visiting Erie shore can enter by Windsor from Detroit. Windsor is an up-and-coming industrial center of importance. Many arrive via the tunnel at Windsor. Others cross the broad Ambassador Bridge into the city. At the other end of Erie shore, visitors arrive from Buffalo via the Peace Bridge at Fort Erie, or the famous Rainbow Bridge linking Niagara Falls, Ontario, and Niagara Falls, New York. Those anxious for information concerning routes, resorts, restaurants, and the like are able to find answers to their questions at the Ontario Government Reception Centers. Although not actually on Erie shore itself, Niagara Falls is a mecca for honeymooners the world over. Its rush of falling waters provides essential hydroelectric power. One ribbon of interest is found at the Welland Ship Canal, a principal link in the chain of navigation extending from the Straits of Belle Isle up the St. Lawrence River and through the Great Lakes to Duluth on Lake Superior. It connects Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. Old Fort Erie, constructed in 1803, is a site of historic importance. The modern community of the same name is built close by the fort. The racetrack at Fort Erie is a popular stopping point for thousands of visitors each year. Here the sport of King holds forth under the warm Ontario sun and in the clear, fresh summer air. "12 miles from Buffalo, on the shore of Lake Erie, is Crystal Beach. Visitors from the United States often arrive here by boat. While the beach is especially desirable for children and non-swimming bathers, one of the biggest attractions at Crystal Beach for young and old is found at its amusement park. Covering many acres of land, it contains just about every sort of amusement device imaginable, many of the features being original with the park. Port Dover is the home of one of the great commercial fishing fleets on the Great Lakes. It was here 300 years ago that the two missionaries, Fathers Brebeuf and Lalemant, stopped at the mouth of Black Creek. Father Brebeuf recorded in his diary his feelings about the site. "Here is an earthly paradise," he said. Today, men who make their livelihood from the fishing nets unload their rich freshwater harvest. Within a few miles of Lake Erie, there's Dunville and Simcoe. Simcoe is proud of its parks, delightful spots filled with gently sloping lawns, soft green trees, and still waters. In Simcoe's parks, evidences of the old fishing hole abound. As far as swimming is concerned, the Kinsman Swimming Pool is designed for the younger citizens of the community. For those who find their relaxation on the fairway or in the rough, Simcoe's Golf and Country Club is a popular spot. Throughout Ontario, first-rate golf clubs with broad fairways and rich rolling greens attract members of the district and summertime visitors alike. In 1874, at Tutela Heights in Brantford, Ontario, Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Brantford, for this reason, is known as the Telephone City. A memorial to the memory of the great inventor is found here. The Bell homestead, early home of the inventor, still stands. It has been turned into a museum. In the various rooms can be seen early counterparts of today's telephone and many objects related closely to the inventor's life and interests. Today, in millions of homes, the telephone keeps the memory of Alexander Graham Bell ever in mind. Plantations of trees, large and small, attract visitors to the St. Williams Forestry Station in Norfolk County on Erie Shore. The St. Williams Forestry Station is conceded to be the greatest forest station in Canada, if not in the British Commonwealth. From these small beginnings, the great trees of a nation grow. The busiest stretch of highway in Canada skirts Erie Shore. The beach at Turkey Point, farther along the way, provides cool, clear bathing for visitors. Here, the fishing is superb. And in the autumn, with the coming of wild duck and geese, this renowned hunting ground becomes a sportsman's paradise. Long Point is well named, for it's a 30-mile finger jutting into the lake. Close to Long Point are towering sand hills. While they make attractive playgrounds for young and old, forestry experts see to it that they do not extend too far into the rich farmlands. It's fun, though, to be able to walk on clear white sand. It's a great spot, too, for those interested in photography. Many bustling inland ports dot Erie Shore, where coal and other commodities are imported into Ontario from the United States. And for contrast, there are the picturesque little fishing villages along the water's edge. Then, of course, there are the resorts, such as Port Stanley, where children play in safety in the water. On the outskirts of cities like St. Thomas and London are cabin camps and motels of all sizes and kinds to attract the visitor to this land. In St. Thomas is Pinafore Park, where an outstanding recreation center for the young is in operation. St. Thomas is one of the more progressive communities in this part of the province. The commercial, industrial, and financial capital of Western Ontario is London, with its English atmosphere. Fine woolens and other treasures from the 7 seas are sold in the up-to-date retail establishments in the city. London is also the home of the University of Western Ontario. Its academic standing is receiving increased recognition in the world of science and industry. Many people make treks for Rondo Provincial Park, 5,000 acres of holiday playground set aside by the Ontario government. Some rent or buy cottages here and return year after year. It's fun to build your own cabin or cottage, as these visitors to Rondo know only too well. For those traveling by automobile and trailer, the trailer camp at Rondo is a place to stop a while. Almost everyone tries a turn at cycling. Some more venturesome souls enjoy cycling in tandem and view the district as the narrow wheels roll around. One must not forget the outstanding beach attractions of Rondo. Another famous resort center is at Erie, where sailing holes sway. Like Rondo, Erie is a favorite home port for those who travel under canvas. This miss is starting her career in this popular sport at an early age. For those visiting on Erie shore, there are so many delightful stopping points along the way. This house and its grounds are reminiscent of English manor houses and old estates. Kingsville is world famous as the home of the Jack Miner Bird Sanctuary. It is a common but nevertheless thrilling sight during their northward flight to see between 5,000 and 8,000 wild Canada geese and other birds resting and feeding. This is Point Pelee National Park, the southernmost point of mainland in Canada, and on a latitude line as far south as the northern sections of California. While summer visitors drive through the district, its citizens go about their everyday activities. Farming, of course, is one of the great industries. Peaches from this section of Ontario are renowned in all parts of the continent for their sweetness. In the autumn, the apples are picked, and then the rich grapes from the vineyards. Tomatoes from Erie shore go to market or to the canning factories at Leamington, Simcoe, Delhi, Waterford, and Port Dover. It was in 1923 that the first commercial crop of flue-cured tobacco was produced on Erie shore in Norfolk County. Today, new Canadians from Belgium, Holland, and other European countries have made this their home and are engaged in the tobacco operations. The rows of tobacco remind one of the great plantations of Virginia. One event in October each year is the annual Pheasant Hunt on Pelee Island. Complete with guns, equipment, and retrievers, the hunters board the SS Pelee, which transports them to the island. The spunky little ship makes trips the year round. It doesn't take long to reach Pelee Island. Some hunters, of course, arrive by plane. Some arrive by private launch. Actually, hunting and autumn go hand in hand. This is the time of year when Erie shore and Pelee Island are perhaps most beautiful. While there's beauty in the soft young greens of springtime and the deeper hues of summer, the riot of color brought to Erie shore in the autumn months is something special to those who do their holidaying during the hunting season. excitement galore for man and dog alike. And almost every hunter, experienced or otherwise, ends the hunt with his full quota of pheasant game. There's a certain sadness when it's time to pack up and leave Peely Island, but all good things must come to an end. In the brisk autumn air, the hum of many planes warming up for the return journey mingles with the goodbyes of the hunters. Little planes, medium-sized craft, and big planes rev up their motors in preparation for the trip back to the mainland. Soon they fly into the autumn skies. At all seasons of the year, from spring through the summer and autumn, those visiting Erie shore find a holiday to their liking. They return here again and again, for the beauties of nature which abound make a holiday on Erie shore a memorable one.